is sort of like a mosquito bite to a right whale. And in most cases, they don't even react when the biopsy dart hits their skin. And it's sort of like darting an inner tube. I mean, the arrow hits the whale and bounces right off in a matter of a second. Their skin is very elastic, and we shoot from distances up to about 80 feet, but I prefer to shoot, just for accuracy reasons, between 40 and 60 feet. And so the arrow will hit perpendicular to the skin of the whale and then just bounce, I mean, just that fast. I get a plug of skin that's about 1 inch long and about 7 millimeters in diameter, because that's just the size of the opening, the leading edge of this cylinder. Right. And then if we're lucky, we also get a piece of blubber, which gives us more information. In other words, we can do genetics and look at the animal's DNA from the skin sample, and then from the blubber sample we can also get some idea of what the animals are carrying in the way of contaminant loads.
DNA tests have already shown there are only 3 family lines in the right whale population. Now that means when the population was at its smallest at the turn of the century, there were only 3 unrelated families. Breeding with such limited variation in the gene pool can lead to very unhealthy, even infertile whales.
Oh, it's more. There's still more. It's stuck inside the dart. Okay. Hang on just a sec. So what we're gonna, what we're gonna do now is just cut this skin up into smaller bits and pieces to make sure the salt solution completely impregnates the skin tissue. Right. And then that'll preserve it until I can get it to the lab to do the analysis.
Now how thick is a whale's skin?
Right whales have skin that's 1 inch thick. It's much thicker than, let's say, a fin or a humpback. Fin whales are about 1/4 of an inch. Humpbacks about 1/2 inch. Right. Right whales are like belugas. Belugas also have skin that's about 1 inch thick, which is nice for our work because it means we can get a plug of skin with which we can do a lot of DNA experiments.
Right.
With this size of skin sample, Mo can do hundreds of DNA tests. She shares this data with another scientist doing another study, and for all of this, she only has to dart each whale once. She hopes that further DNA testing will reveal whether there are enough whales contributing to the gene pool for this species to survive.
Okay, Janet, what was that animal's letter? A. All right, so what we do is we just label each one of these with just the animal's letter for the day. So that's EGA, right whale A, on the 12th of September. And now I'll just leave this sample in the solution until we get back to the lab in November. Right. And then I'll extract the DNA and start doing experiments with it. Okay, we're all set for another one. I think we owe it to these animals. I mean, we're responsible for their demise. No two ways about it. There was not an environmental disaster of any kind. We basically just went out and hunted so many of them that we knocked the population down to such a low level that it's amazing they're really even still around. And I think we kind of owe it to the species to do what we can to keep them around and allow them to repopulate. It's the only whale species that was subjected to such intensive hunting that hasn't rebounded.
Right whales breed and feed in Canadian waters from about June to November every year. They migrate here from calving grounds off the coast of the southeastern United States. One of the leading causes of death for the right whales is collisions with ships. The whales like to feed in the deep shipping lanes. And Moira Brown is trying to encourage awareness about the plight of the right whale. She wants the government to protect them by law.
Right whales don't suffer from an identity crisis. They suffer from just the fact that no one knows they're even alive still. Many people think the population went extinct years ago. And what we're trying to do at this point, it's not even an education program, it's really just a basic awareness program that yes, right whales are still alive. There's lots of them in Canadian waters, and just keep an eye out for them. And what we're trying to do with this awareness program is just reduce the potential for ship-whale collisions.
Keep an eye out for that whale off the bow. I don't want to crowd it.
A little bit closer, Chris, would be better because we're against the wind.
Some shipping and fishing companies have agreed to slow down and post an observer when they're in right whale territory. But in Canada, there's no government legislation requiring them to do that.
Photograph the close one. There, Kenny. Whales bring out something in people, and I'm not exactly sure what it is, but there certainly is a lot of concern for the welfare of right whales now that people are starting to realize they are, in fact, still on this earth. So hopefully we can continue the education programs, continue the science, and continue putting the whole picture together. There you go. Oh!
Fabulous.
For the few months the researchers are here in Lubeck, Maine, they live and work in this field station. So far, the right whale identification project has named and numbered 325 right whales.
On MWB4.
That's good, because I didn't stamp any of those.
Now, this isn't as exciting as having a swaying deck below your feet or feeling the spray of a right whale, but this is where a big part of the work gets done.
On our off days, we are usually in the office. We're doing photographic analysis. In other words, we've taken lots of slides from when we were out earlier this year in August. And as those slides start to pour in, sometimes we're shooting 10 rolls a day, which when you think of it, it's 300 slides a day.
Let's keep this here and I'll get it later.
And we'll send it down to Katona. Most of our off days are spent in the office, putting all the slides together into individual animals, getting ready to match those to the photographic catalog, data entry into the computer. And now we've gotten to a point where we have a pretty good idea of how many right whales there are. We know pretty much where they are. And we have a little bit of information on how many calves are born each year, and now we can use that information to try and develop recovery plans to keep this species around for a little while longer. Any idea how many animals were in this group? Through what letter?
We went through FNN.
Mo and Chris are matching the photos they took to the whales they already have in the catalog to confirm the identification of each whale. If the photographs don't match the cataloged whales, then after checking and rechecking, they'll enter the photo as a new whale.
And there's a Z in the whale watcher sheets, right?
Right. Z in the whale watcher sheets looks like this animal.
Okay, we'll make that one Z.
Each scientist on the team is collecting data for their own individual projects as well as for the New England Aquarium's identification program. Mo is working on her PhD at the University of Guelph in Ontario. She, of course, is looking at right whale genetics and demographics. Chris is from Georgia. He runs a right whale survey project in the southeastern United States. And Amy, over at the computer, is doing a paper on right whale calving and reproduction. Janet, who is also on the boat, is a volunteer, and Phil is the Hawkeye right whale spotter. He knows every single whale on site. Everyone shares the data that's been collected for their individual projects, but each member of the team has a common goal.
Well, the long-term goal is to try and keep right whales around for, the next few hundred years. And to do that, we have to sort of do everything we can to increase survivorship, or let's put it this way, decrease mortality that's caused by humans. With such a small population, every whale is important. Every single animal that's born is important. So every one we lose is a major loss. It's a high percentage loss for the population.
Oh, this is the same whale.
Yeah, I think so too.
Tell about the skin
it's not really four islands. It's 3 islands with a little peninsula off the bonnet on the right-hand side.
And
but it could go either way.
Gives it away.
Yeah. All right. So that means that Z and LL are duplicates of each other. So let's put all those up there.
See if I can find some more of that whale.
Okay.
Some days, Mo says, you just have to get out of the office. On the days when the wind and waves keep the team landlocked, you could just find them on the water anyway, kayaking at a favorite place called Reversing Falls. This part of the world is very special to Moira Brown. It's where she can do the work she loves. She's been coming back here for years, and it's a place she hopes to return to for a long time to come.
This project's been going for 13 years, and that sounds like a long time, but really, in terms of trying to figure out what an animal is all about, it's basically three or four calving cycles of a female right whale. So that's not really a great long period of time in the lifespan of a right whale. And we need to continue the monitoring study, just the basic monitoring study, to be able to look at, keep tabs on reproduction, see which females are becoming reproductively active. Females that we first knew as calves, see them mature, what age do they become sexually mature, and try to get some idea of the reproductive biology of this species. We know a little bit now, but we still have a long way to go. And also to continue the genetics work. And it's not just, I'm always talking about right whales, and it's not just right whales that this kind of work will affect in the end, but hopefully it will affect the space that right whales occupy, and the other species that are in those spaces will also benefit from what we can do for right whales.
The kind of field research that Moira Brown and her team are doing is really hard work, and Moira has been doing it for more than 9 years now. And even so, 9 years of very difficult field research is just a short time when it comes to this kind of work. Because they're only really beginning to identify the whales out there, and they're only starting to understand their behavior. Moira hopes to extend her genetic work to more completely understand the genetic health of these whales and therefore their potential to survive. And with Moira Brown's kind of determination and perseverance, maybe the right whale has a future after all. For Journeys, I'm Lauren Miller.
The right whale adoption program is run by East Coast Ecosystems, which is a non-profit organization that's trying to make Canadians more aware that right whales are still around. We have 3 whales up for adoption. We can't possibly put them all up for adoption, although we'd like to, but we choose 3 whales that represent different areas of our research. And so with the right whale adoption program, people receive a certificate with a photograph of the whale and their name on the certificate, and a description about their particular whale, its personal biography, as well as a description of all the different work that we're doing right now. And then at the end of the year, you'll receive a newsletter sort of talking about what we've seen the past field seasons and if your whale has been identified, re-identified or not. And just sort of keep you up to date on what's going on with the research.